guys, this is Julie, and for today's Spending Free Scraplift, I'm doing this page by Missy Whidden. What Missy's done is she's fussy cut all those feathers and they're kind of floating down the page from that rip. And what I decided to do was kind of flip that on its head, and instead of having feathers floating down, I decided to go with butterflies kind of flying up and out of that rip in the paper. So you can see here, this is the paper that I've chosen to use and the butterflies that I'm going to fussy cut. You'll miss in a minute, because I forgot to have the camera on, choosing which paper to use at the bottom. I chose between that stripe that I did end up using and the back of the butterfly paper, which was just really a blue watercolor. And I just figured if I'm going to be doing a kind of watercolor type technique anyway, I might as well use something a little bit different rather than watercolor on watercolor. So that's how I chose that paper. Now you can see here I'm using the good old packaging technique with my gelatos, which you can see there on the left. Now if you know Missy's work, you'll know that she pretty well always does mixed media techniques on her layouts, and she works for Shimmers, I think they're called, on their design team and whatever, and I think some other design teams as well. But anyway, I don't have Shimmers. In the past I've tended, if I try out a new kind of mixed media type thing, I'm one of those people that loves, I just love color. I love rainbow. If I go to Bunnings, I love the paint, the paint sample wall, and I'm like that with my with my products. I'm the sort of person that, even though I know in my head that you can mix paints, I don't just want the basic colors. I want the whole rainbow of colors. So you can see there, when I got my gelatos, I got the big box. I've got a big tin of maybe, might even be 72 Inktense pencils. When I was first starting out in paper crafts and I was stamping back in the day, I bought Marvy markers, and I probably started with a pack of maybe 12 or 24, and then kept on adding colors. So I'm one of those people that kind of wants it all, and I just can't justify buying new product for the amount that I do the mixed media. Not to say that won't change in the past, but for the time being, at least, when I watch someone like Missy, when I watch someone like Missy, I just think, well, how can I do that with what I've got? So at this stage, I'm quite happy just to plug away with my gelatos, and I'm happy with how they turn out. But I'm by no means an expert, but I think my stuff sort of turns out okay at any rate. Now back to Missy's layout again. It's one from a series. She's called Using Older Supplies, and I just love it when the big YouTubers do that, when they pull out their older supplies. It gives validity to what we're trying to do, to show that our older supplies are still just as valid for making our pages as the brand new ones. And aside from that, it's just always great to see older supplies being used by a scrapbooker whose style that we love. It gives us lots of ideas. So I'm just got that white bit of cardstock there while my other sheet is drying, and I'm just going through and choosing some embellishments. This is once again that kit I made, Expanding the World at Heart Cocoa Vanilla collection, and I think everything that I use on this layout is from this kit. I don't think I have to pull anything else, so that's always fun. Now, something that I wanted to say about these photos that I'm scrapping today and the last video, these are just photo shoot photos. So end of 2016, it was my parents' 50th wedding anniversary, and so my sort of extended family got together and we took a lot of these photos, and of course we're all wearing white, so they're very easy to scrapbook, but they're not my everyday scrapbooking. So I'm pretty much come to the end of this series of photos. I might do one page each for the kids' albums, but I've scrapbooked all the different combinations now. I've sort of come to the end, and most of my pages really, they're about real life. They're about not always big events, but certainly the big events, the little events, the birthdays, the Christmases, the things like that. So just give yourself permission when you're looking at pages by the biggest scrapbookers. Your scrapbook pages don't have to be just pretty photo shoot photos. They don't have to be even great quality photos, quite frankly. It's your life that you're scrapbooking. I think the fact when you're scrapbooking your memories, that's an inspiration in itself, I guess, is what I'm what I'm trying to say. So while like I've loved doing these pages, I'm actually in a way it's good to get back to scrapping all those moments, the holidays and the birthdays and all those sorts of things. So what I'm doing now, I've kind of lined my page up more or less how I want it, and I'm just stamping now, some little butterflies in there. And you might notice if you saw my last Scraplift video of Chamel that I've taken the same idea from that page of using the journaling card or project life card, whatever you want to call it, as my title. Because once again, they're just photo shoot photos. It's not a particular story I'm telling. So just that a nice sentiment was just totally suitable as a kind of title slash journaling. Now thinking back to the original page of Missy's with all the feathers coming down, when you see a page like that you like, again just try and think outside the box a little bit about what papers you might have to fussy cut and how that might work. Another paper that I own that I thought might be fun was the one of Chamel's with the teacups. Maybe I thought of this because I've seen it done perhaps, but I was envisioning piling all the teacups up in a bit of a crazy sort of tea party stack, and having perhaps a page about having a cup of tea with a friend or something like that. So that's certainly an idea. If you really love the feathers, of course, there are different ways to make feathers. I could certainly do them on my silhouette. That only works if you've got the right sort of die cutting machine, but if you've got one and you're able to do that, that would work out really nicely. I also have feather stamps. I know I've got some quite big ones that probably wouldn't work so well, but I may have a smaller one as well. So again, stamping out a bunch of feathers in different colors and fussy cutting those out would be a really nice way to make a page with a similar feel to Missy's. So this is just the sticking things down part, and you can see now I've got those, I think the Studio Calico, maybe the mistable butterflies, which I absolutely love. Most of the time I do end up just using them white, but I have coloured them and they always turn out fabulous. I think I'm actually going to be quite sad when I finish them. Not that I have a lot of dimensional product, but I do love it when I have it. Now I'm really sorry, this is the next day, and clearly I didn't get my focus quite right on the camera. I had got to a point where I thought that I was finished, and then I went, no, there's just not enough, it needs a little bit more. And of course, being a Missy layout, she does these little nests of thread, which I'd never tried before, so I'm feeling like perhaps I'll have to watch her videos again before I give them another attempt, but I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. The other thing that I did in between when the camera was off was I did some stitching. So there's some gold stitching down all the butterflies on the frames, and just sort of an underlining. I did add some a couple of those journaling sort of word strips, and there's some sort of underlining of those words down there as well. So again, thanks guys so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this Scraplift series. I don't know who I'm scraplifting next. Certainly if you've got some suggestions of people that you'd like me to scraplift, let me know. Otherwise I will catch up with you guys here or in the Facebook group really soon.